Yeah. This is an interactive learning experience. It's different than a typical webinar where there's an agenda and we go from the agenda to front to back. And I get asked 87 times if there's going to be a replay because nobody wants to miss anything. I'm actually going to use your questions and we're going to turn those into things that can be helpful. Okay, so it's an interactive learning experience, a little bit different than your typical webinar. Just make sure that you understand that. Second thing is that we're really going to try to make sure that you you're going to have to get that from support, AC. That's the only answer I have for you. This is not support. I can't help with that. Okay. Now, here, the why is as important as the how. I'm going to show you why we do certain things the way that we do. And once you master the why, the how becomes really, really easy. It's when you give when all you focus on is the how, and that's the reason why I call it an interactive learning experience. When all you focus on is the how, then you need somebody else you need somebody to walk you through every single step. What we do here is we teach you how those steps fit together so that you can master the how yourself. Okay, and that makes you much more valuable. It gives you much more equipment and better capable of being able to provide goods and services to other people. We want to encourage and support each other. I've already seen Gene do that. He shared the replay webinar link, and so that answers that question, okay? I had one time when there was a 2-week delay in the webinar. The webinars are a free gift to you. So just remember that. I think that sometimes there's an assumption that this webinar is something that you're supposed to have and that you paid for. It's a free gift to you. And so give me an opportunity when other things are going on and I've got other stuff going on in my life. Sometimes there's a delay. Okay. And that has to be acceptable. It just has to be acceptable. Okay. And just keep that in mind. All right. The next thing is we're going to make this fun. And that's the reason why I come across a little tough sometimes, because I want this to be fun. It's going to be fun for me. I promise you. Okay. And I want to make sure that we keep this a fun experience. Okay. And that the expectations are proper. The inspiration for this, I use an open Zoom room concept and a couple of other platforms that I do this with, and that open Zoom room allows people to physically ask questions. We have too many people on this webinar for them to be able to actually talk, open up, share their screen, that kind of thing. So we're going to give you the opportunity to be able to ask questions in the chat. I will do my best to try to answer them as long as they keep us within the time frame that we have, okay? We have these 3 communication channels, and I have to remind you of this every week. This is not support. This is the webinar. In the webinar, we're going to teach. Support answers your questions. And if I tell you it's a support question, then you have to ask the question in support. You can't ask it in the webinar. The Facebook group is a great place to ask questions that don't have anything to do with support. They can't give you access to that. And I've gone into great detail about this numerous times about the Facebook group. Don't ask support questions in the Facebook group. It only adds to the workload of support. If you want to delay your tickets, ask questions in 3 different places. It makes it much, much more complicated. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. It's just important that we understand that and we go over that occasionally so that people will ask questions in the right place. This is the how-to webinar. This is how you get those questions answered. What do we do if this happens? That's not a support question, okay? And so we go through those steps in this webinar. The next thing is, I want to share some things with you. This is we use the word templateology. I created that word a couple of years ago, and we started using it to talk about taking the templates apart. This is a great example. Gene posted this. He posted it a while back, but this is a thing that Gene had posted, and Gene's one of the people who's on the webinar, the guy who shared the link earlier. Really appreciate Gene's input in the group and Gene's involvement in helping people to be successful. So thank you, Gene. I appreciate that. And this is a great example of what Gene talks about, and I talk about this a lot. Gene started using that phrase a lot. We use it a lot now at UZiners, and it's called templateology. And that's simply where we take something from the template, we save it, and we use it for something else. And we learn from the templates. We grab the features from the templates. We talked about that last week. Last week's webinar was an introduction to templateology and how that we grabbed this text right, or this image piece right here, and then Gene used that very same thing over here in a completely different format. This one's about dating, and he took that and made it about Jersey Mike's sub store, right? So how cool is that? That's the whole templateology concept. And we talk about that frequently, and I give you lots of opportunity to be able to see how we take a template apart. We did that last week with that card deck that was in the template, and we showed how to save that as groups and take those kinds of pieces apart. Okay, so keep asking questions in the chat, keep making comments in the chat, so I know that everything's working, because we've had enough hiccups for the day. The next one is, and William did this, and this is kind of, I'll show you the reason in just a minute. Well, I said I was going to. Let's see, I've got a blank slide here. But William posted this. This was one of the templates that he took, but I want you to see the list of things here. He used it to create business cards, flyers, magnets, Facebook cover, all for a customer. So this was his customer, and yes, thank you, Gene. Please, please, please share the things that you make inside the group. That is extremely important to do that, because I grab those and we pull them out here and we talk about them in the webinar. We use them they're part of the part of the material that I use for the webinars, because these things are so valuable. Here's an example. William took a template and then ran through that template these different products: business cards, flyers, magnets, Facebook cover, all for a customer. Really important that you learn how to do that, because the very next thing on the agenda is that when I looked at the results of the survey, the one thing that was at the top of the list was selling services. How do I sell the services that I have with UZine? I've got the capabilities of doing a variety of things with UZine. So how do I maximize that? How do I sell those services? And this is a good example of how William had taken a template, used that with a client to sell them a variety of things: business cards, flyers, magnets, and a Facebook cover. How cool is that? And this is the reason why it's so important to share these things inside the group. Because if you share your designs inside the group, then somebody else gets inspired to do that. And it helps them say, hey, maybe I could sell that service, or hey, maybe I could take that to somebody else and we could do something with that. Maybe we could make this work, okay? So I have 4 very simple things that I want to encourage people to do if you're going to sell services. Number 1, begin very quickly. Once you make the decision to do that, I think there's probably some magic to this 15-second rule. Once I decide to do that, then I should probably take action on it within 15 seconds. Begin quickly. The second one is listen carefully. Listen carefully. Pay very careful attention to the things that we share in the webinar. Pay careful attention to the things that people share in the group. Make sure that you're listening carefully to the things that people are doing. I see people ask the same question over and over and over again. I work on a support desk occasionally, and I'm amazed at how many people will ask the same question every 3 weeks. It's like, what happened? Did we have a change in the moon? And all of a sudden you can't remember things. So listen carefully. Use the things that you learn immediately. We had a whole long string there when we were doing some interesting things with shadows and perspective and that kind of a thing, pretty advanced kind of training in Usign. And people were doing exactly what we had done on the webinar within the first couple of hours of the time that we got off. And then they shared those in the group before the end of the day on Friday. That's really, really helpful. It implants those things in your head. It creates a practice habit, and then you remember where those things are at. Very important that you listen carefully and act quickly. The third one, and this is just the old man's advice: stop looking and start doing. The next piece of software that comes out is going to promise that it can stand on its head, spin, do flips, and it will capture your attention, and you'll spend 3 weeks trying to figure out whether you should buy that. And just stop doing that, and stop looking at those things, and just do what you need to do. If you'll focus on the things that people are paying you for, it's amazing how much better you get. When you're always looking for something else, you don't get as much done. All right, that's just Eric's advice for the day. And then the last thing is grow your skills. Grow your skills. Make sure that you're good at those. Okay. We're going to spend some time on this agency kit here. I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about this Zsuite Fiverr business kit, and I want to talk about the agency site template. Okay. So, how many of you have got this agency kit? All right, cool. It looks like most of you have it. So, so this will be helpful. And this falls into that whole selling services. Now, it's great. If you want to sell services on Fiverr, that's amazing. And we'll have and this is what's in that Fiverr kit. This is just a description about some things here. I've identified one that I want to talk about briefly. And Pinterest is a visual platform. Okay, it is a very, very visual platform. Well, because it's a very visual platform, it gives you great opportunity to be able to provide visual pieces for clients to post on Pinterest. All right. And this is a good, and I talk about Pinterest a lot. And I encourage you to go to Pinterest occasionally and take a look, see what's trending on Pinterest. Look at the best things, and they deliver that to you when you put in a keyword. They deliver that to you in the order of importance, or they deliver it to you in the order of the most viewed and that kind of thing, or the most shared, or whatever, or most pinned, or however Pinterest refers to that. But go look at that frequently, and then remember what it was that was magical about that. We spent 2 weeks in which we took apart what we saw on Pinterest and what made it work and what made it not work. Okay, now let me tell you a little story. I had a lady who called me and she said, I've been paying somebody to do the Pinterest posts for me, and I'm getting zero activity from it. Zero activity from it. I said, well, we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to take a look at what you're doing and what you're paying her to do for you. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to look at her Pinterest board, and we're going to see if there's a difference. So the first thing that we did was that we went to we went to the person I'm coaching. We went to her Pinterest board, and I looked at it and I went, you know, this says nothing. There's no value here. There's nothing that would make me want to click, and there's nothing here that would make me want to grab anything. Okay. And so I'm not going to click on this. I'm not going to pin it. I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to capture it. I'm not going to do anything with this. It's just a statement that says Instagram training. Well, that's not going to tell anybody anything. That doesn't teach anybody anything. It doesn't help them to want to click on that or pin it or save it or anything that's done on Pinterest. That was the first thing. Second thing was we went to the person who was doing the Pinterest post for her. Her board looked exactly the same way, and she had zero activity on hers. So this is a great opportunity for you to be able to capture some clients here. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can do on Fiverr. We have a Fiverr, a brief Fiverr training that's in that agency kit, and you get this right here. Okay, So this is the Zsuite Fiverr business kit right here. And I just grabbed a screenshot from this because I wanted to talk briefly about Pinterest, but there's lots of other things here that you can do. Okay. So this is what the agency website looks like. This is the agency kit website right here. We're going to talk about what I do to modify this. Okay. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. But this has to be edited. It has to be edited. This is a template. And as a template, it must be edited. It is an HTML file. So it has to be edited in an HTML file. I'm going to show you a shortcut to that allows me to be able to do this. Okay. So I can modify that site and I can do some creative things with it. And I'll show you how I do that in just a little bit. And what I do, and I'll tell you what I do. So this is, I'll let the cat out of the bag. What I do is I import this HTML file into a platform that allows me to be able to grab all those stuff from that and edit it. And that's what I want to be able to do is to take advantage of those things. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a little bit. Then we need to just brainstorm. If you're going to sell something on using your Usign toolkit, you need to brainstorm about what it is that you want to sell. We spent a lot of time, and if you go back and look at the replays, we spent a lot of time talking about print items. We talked about t-shirts. We talked about KISS stickers. Nobody's offering KISS stickers, so that puts you in a separate category from everybody else. Those are pretty cool to be able to offer to businesses. We'll put a KISS sticker on your door. We'll put one on the back of your cash register. We'll put one on your counter. We'll put one on the tables. We can make this very popular. I've mentioned a couple of times that I have a couple of KISS stickers on the cover of my laptop. When I go to the coffee shop, people will ask me about the products that are promoted from that KISS sticker on the top of my laptop. Okay. I went to the bestsellers and I looked at the bestsellers to figure out what are people actually paying for, because I don't want to create a market for something. I want to take advantage of a market. And one of the bestsellers are these KISS stickers right now. And I showed you where we could get those. We can get them from Printify. As far as I can tell, there's nobody else that's offering KISS stickers like this. So this is a really good place to be able to grab that and take advantage of the opportunity to be able to give or market a KISS sticker. So if you're going to sell services, partner with somebody so that you not only create the visual, but you actually make the physical, but you actually can deliver the physical product. Does that make sense to everybody? Because a graphic is kind of a nebulous sort of a thing. You got to put it in its context. It's got to go on a shirt, or it's got to go on a sticker. It's got to go on a hat, or it has to go on a sock. Who would have believed that socks were bestsellers? But those are the kinds of things that you want to know. So I want to take advantage of the trending things. I go to the print on demand services and look to see what their bestsellers are. And what can I do with those bestsellers? Can I create something that works really well in that bestseller category? And that's what I'm going to do. If I'm going to sell my services, then I'm going to grab these trending things and I'm going to stick them on my laptop and I'm going to put them on my head and maybe even wear them on my feet to make sure that people know the advantage that there is to being able to do that. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. I want to get into we talked about templateology. I may mention another template today, as it depends how much time I've got left. And then I definitely want to show you one thing that you can do in Usign that you can take full advantage of. And I will show you how to do that. This crop tool is one of the most powerful things that we have. It's hidden inside of the platform and people forget that we have it. And so with the new users on, I wanted to make sure that we talked about that crop tool so that you could take advantage of that, because I think that gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. Okay. Then any tips or tricks that come along, I will share those with you as that happens, and I'll do my best to try to answer your questions as long as they have nothing to do with the 4 apps in the Z Suite. Okay, and we'll focus our attention on the agency site right now. Does that sound good to everybody? Let me stop sharing my screen. I will open up the next screen. Give me just a minute to share my screen here. All right. Do y'all see my screen? Last week, I explained that the group was closed to new members for a temporary period of time. I think they're going to reopen that very soon, but you're not going to miss anything. It's all going to be there. All right, this is the agency website. What I did with the agency website package is I uploaded it using my FTP manager in my site. And I uploaded it. Can you see this screen up here at the top? You see my URL up at the top. I've got to get things so I can see everybody's comments. All right, up here, I have a geniuslibrary.com is my website. I created a sub website underneath that, and I uploaded that zip file to there. I unzipped the file, and then I moved the folder, the completed folder, to the main agencydemo.geniuslibrary.com. Everybody follow that? So now I have this, so it functions here inside of the I took the folder that you download from here. I uploaded it using my FTP manager and put that file inside of this subdomain under geniuslibrary.com. Now I have a fully functional website. The problem is that this doesn't go anyplace. This doesn't go anywhere. And this doesn't go anywhere. Down here where I have this get in touch, it doesn't go anywhere. And this doesn't go anywhere. And the reason why it doesn't go anywhere is because there's nowhere for it to go. You have to have a way that you're going to be able to deliver the product. Does that make sense to everybody? This site is a template, something that makes it possible for you to deliver those things. It's not where you're going to actually deliver them, because that would require that we set one up for everybody and then a separate hosting and all of that kind of stuff. So what was delivered here is a zip file that needs to be uploaded and put into, all the assets need to be put into a site where this makes sense, okay? So this is what I did. I have a site that creates HTML5 sites, and I have a program that does that. I uploaded this part of the file right here. I imported that into this platform. And inside that platform, I thought I had this right. I don't. Give me just a second. I'll switch here. Inside this platform, I have the ability to be able to import that site. And then I can edit it. So this is my imported site. And this is how to import it. Now, there are other programs that do that. There are other ways to import the site. This happened to be the one I have. All right. I'm giving this a second to load. Now, I'm going to have to, once this is loaded, it's ready to go, I'm going to have to make some modifications here. All right. Obviously, this phone number is not going to work. So I want to put a phone number there so that people have a way to contact me. Now, I'm definitely not going to have contact me 24/7, but I am going to put a phone number in here that works. And now I have a phone number. It works. Okay. And but what I'm going to do is I want to make these modifications so that it's my site. I get the phone calls. I get the projects. I get the stuff, if that makes sense. All right. And these are the things that have to be modified. These are fine. All right. These go to links inside of the page. They go to links inside the page. But this right here, start a project, I need to make that button go someplace where they either fill out a contact form or they do something of that nature. Now, the reason why I like this platform is because it allows me, when I click on that button, to pop up a form, and they can fill out the form right there without leaving the page. I don't like for people to leave my page. So I want to make sure that I put the forms where it's easy for them to access and they're not having to hunt around. Is that clear to everybody? Let's go down. We're going to take apart the pieces of this. So this start a project right here, I may want to gather some information from them about the project, or I may want to set a time. I might want to connect that to my calendar so that I can get on the calendar and they can call me. We could have a Zoom call. We could do something that would make it easy for me to help them to start the project. Maybe they want to talk through what they want to do. Remember the thing that we saw from William a while ago? He did business cards and magnets and flyers and letterheads and a Facebook cover image. I want to know what that person's interested in having. Okay, so I want the link right here to go someplace. So I'm going to put over here in that link, in that button, I'm going to add over here to that button the thing that I need them to take action on. Okay, if I want that to go someplace so that moves them to where we're at. All right. Now, Olga, what I'm doing is I'm talking about how I do this in Convertri. It doesn't make any difference what importer that you do that from. You need to pay attention to what buttons need to be changed and where you want those buttons to take people and to take the action that happens. Okay. But that link would need to go to some place where I either introduce a conversation, have them upload a screenshot, something to that effect. Okay. Very important that you know what you need to do so that you can actually sell the services using this agency website. Now, you can create your own. That's fine. And a lot of people do. I create my own. But I wanted you to see how to modify this, and I wanted you to see the pieces that needed to be modified. So as we look at this, the pieces that need to be modified, this starter project right here, that needs to be modified. I need to make sure that goes someplace where it's easy for the person to be able to initiate that conversation with me. I want to make sure this phone number right here goes someplace where it's an active phone number. I want to take advantage of that. One thing that you'll notice is that there is a difference. Let's see here. There's a difference in how this background right here looks. This image did not import properly, so I deleted it. All right. Yeah, I went through a bunch of free HTML editors for the last 4 hours this morning, looking to see if I could find something that would work well for everybody. You're going to have to get a what you see is what you get, or you're going to have to know how to code, because there's about 2,700 lines in here, and you want to make sure that those 2,700 lines that you put the proper code in each one of those. Okay. And whatever you use, I don't care what you use, but I'm just going over with you what you need to do in order to make it work. Okay. So first thing, I want to make sure this button works. I want to make sure this phone number goes to the right place. This button needs to go to that same place that this button goes. By the way, you want to give people 3 options to take the desired action that you have. Okay. And so there's 2 places where they can take your most desired action, is those 3 places right there. And here's the next one. Okay, this get in touch would be basically the same thing as start a project. I want to have a conversation with them that includes how we're going to do this thing next. Okay. Now let's go down here and take a look at this. You can change these images to images that you've done, or services that you want to offer. Maybe it's going to be for e-com. Maybe it's going to be business cards. Maybe it's going to be putting together a flyer or a brochure or something like that. Maybe it's a refrigerator magnet, but you want to change those things to the things that you want to do, the things that you want to do. All right. Not what somebody else wants to do, but the things that you want to do. I might put kiss stickers on here. All right. That might be the thing I want to do. But whatever it is that you want to do, you put the images of that in there. Okay. Questions asked about copyright restrictions. And Gene posted an article in the group this last week that I thought was really, really good. And it's talking about copyright. And don't ever violate copyright. You don't have a deep enough bank account to do that. Okay. You just don't. So you want to make sure that any images that you use, you have express permission. And by the way, I get permission from the business owner to use their information as well. If I'm taking a picture of their logo, if I'm going to use their logo on something, I have their permission to do so. If I'm going to take a picture of the outside of their building, I have their permission to do that. If I'm going to take a picture of the inside of their building, I make sure that I have permission to do that. This is a permission business, and you better be about the business of asking permission. And so you can use your own images. That's why I'm saying you want to use your own images here in order to do that. Okay. Now, the copy question keeps coming up. And yes, you're more than welcome to change the copy inside of this anywhere that you want to, any way that you want to. The copy was written here to make things easy for you. The copy was here so that you wouldn't have to write your own copy, but it's here. And it may be that you don't want to do each one of these things. Maybe you only want to do a couple of them. Maybe you want to specialize in hats. I don't know. But whatever it is, this is an opportunity for you to be able to take a website, make some modifications to it, and make it work. Okay. And the images that we have inside the platform, you're more than welcome to use, and I'll show you where you can get the information about the access to those images as well. And I'll show you where to use that. Okay. I'll show you where to get that information. As Gene just said, you want to make sure that you check that out and do so. Okay. But you can modify this any way that you want to. You can modify the copy in here any way that you want to. Yeah, you don't ever want to violate the music copyrights. Somebody asked me one day, why do you play that Mozart music at the beginning of every webinar? It's because it's in public domain. I played a different one day, and I immediately got the webinar flagged, because I had to take the front end off of that, so that's the reason why the music never appears in the webinar anymore. Be very, very careful about music. Be very, very careful about images. All right. Now, this is a really creative way here. I want you to see what's here. Okay. This is what I want you to see. All right. This is obviously done on a membership platform. Okay. You can do it any way you want to, but you want to make sure that you get recurring revenue from people. So if they want 5 creatives a month, maybe they're going to post those on Facebook, or they're going to post them on social media platforms, then you want to make sure that you get an agreement with them for X number of creatives and for X number of dollars per month. Okay. And this is, but you have to make this yours. You can't just put this up and then go, well, I didn't know, what am I supposed to do with that? You have to think through what you want to sell before you start to make and sell things. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope that's clear. That for some reason, I see people who will put one of these sites up and they've never gone through and done these modifications to this and haven't thought about what they wanted to sell. Have to think about that so that you can make this work well for you. And then obviously these buttons need to go to someplace that defines how they're going to get started. All right. If they need to request a quote, you can put a quote button right here, or you could just put a email address that would allow them to be able to do the same thing. Okay. No, you'll have to create your own thank you page. You'll have to create your own, checkout page, because obviously if they're going to click here, they're going to need to check out. You may deliver that in a membership site. You might deliver it by email, however you decide that you want to do that. But I highly encourage you to map things out so you know exactly where they're going to go. I wish I had the ability to be able to show you how I map things out. Some of you have seen me do other webinars or see me do a live feed or something like that with the boxes drawn on the wall in my office. I have these giant sticky notes I stick on the wall, and they got boxes in them, and that boxes are the flow that when they click here, it takes them to this, and then they go to a checkout page. And once they cleared the checkout page, they go to a thank you page, and then they go to this is where you log in to get your graphics delivered to you. Okay. Process is exactly the same. You don't really change anything at all. The process remains basically the same, whether you're delivering a physical product, if you're delivering a digital product, or if you're selling a service. The process is basically the same. And you want to walk people through that process experience, because then you find out where people leak. Okay. This has the $49.99 a month posted right here. And so if they click on here and then they go to a checkout page and then they don't check out, then I want to know why that. If it only happens once, it's no big deal. But if it happens 12 times in a row, I want to figure out why it's doing that. Okay. So those steps help you to figure out where you're going with that. Does that make sense to everybody? But carefully map out what your user experience is going to be. So when the person clicks on this link, you send them a link to your site, all right? And it shows up in their page and it looks like this. I'm just going to do the preview of this. You'll see it. One of the first things that they see is that they can click right here and start a project. Okay, I've made it really easy. I've done sales training for 25 years. One of the things that you do in sales training is that you teach people how to make things easy. This is easy. They haven't had to go anyplace. They get a chance to start before they do anything else. Okay, so I've made it really easy for them. As they scroll down and they read this, I've got a chance right here to be able to start a project right there. Okay, they come down here and we talk about good design and good business. And then they got a chance to do the same thing here, slightly change the words to see if I could get a different action, okay? The menu buttons will work if you make them work. That's what I just went through the whole process to show you how to edit those buttons and what links they need to go to, okay? And then you come down here and you map out this client experience. What's my customer going to see? What are they going to do? What am I asking them to do? What's going to help them to be successful? What's going to make it as easy as possible for them to say yes? And as you scroll down and look through this, I'm making it easy for them to say yes. If they want to test out one design, they can do that. But then I have a buy button here, and that buy button is going to go someplace, and then it's going to, maybe I'm using a WooCommerce or a Shopify or an Etsy store in order to do that. But I want to link that to that platform, okay? Spend a lot of time on this, but I want you to understand that you've got to make sure that you map out the experience you want the customer to have. I really like, from a sales page standpoint, I really like this as a sales page. I think it is everything you want to have in a sales page, and it's not too much. Yeah, PayPal is excellent. Stripe is an excellent platform. If you're a little more advanced, you might want to use a cart program. I use ThriveCart. I like ThriveCart's delivery capabilities and the ability to do upsells and bump sales and down sales and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a good use of white space. I'm a big fan of white space. I think we tend to make things too crowded, and this works really, really well. I haven't looked at this on a mobile device. I can do it here. This actually will show me how this is going to look on a mobile device. It's one of the things I like about this platform. Yeah, looks pretty good on a mobile device as well. All right. Yeah, no update on that. No update whatsoever on a WordPress theme version of this. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It was just a request that I made. I was hoping that would be easier to do. But right now, the developers are all focusing on making sure that everything's functioning exactly the way they want it to. That's a support question, Robert. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know anything about kick pages. I really don't. I know that all of these are identified with kick pages, so there's a reason for that. Okay. All right. Real quickly, let me. Unfortunately, I need to change screens again. Yeah, it's an HTML site, so it can't be used on a WordPress site. So let me share a different screen here. You're not seeing a screen right now, right? Okay. How about now? I'm having to manipulate the Demio platform a little differently today than normal because every time I click to pop out the chat, it makes everything else disappear. So all right, I want to talk about the crop tool first. Okay, this is obviously my sidekick, Tyson, my grandson, and so what I did was I took the image right here. This is an image that I had uploaded of him, and I want to be able to take that image that I've uploaded of him, and I want to check. I want to get some close-up shots. So what I'm going to do, this gives us a really high quality image. So what I'm going to do is take my crop tool here and get this kind of the way I want it. All right. And notice this button right down here where it says save the library. I'm going to hit the crop right there. And do you see this? It's now taken, that's a really good high quality image, right? I now have that cropped image 2680 by 2659. That's a high quality image, okay? So now what I might want to do is to take this image here and now remove the background. It's going to be interesting because the hair is about the same color as the inside of that window. But you can, once it's under 3000 pixels, I can now remove the background. So I cropped the image. First of all, before I brought it into the platform, I cropped it so that it was under 3000 pixels. And then I've got a really good quality image here. So I've got something I can work with, all right? And I just simply go up here and I start to save all the stuff that I want to keep, so I can get rid of the stuff that I don't want to keep. And I'm going to be really careful. Tyson has the funkiest hair, so I don't have to be as careful here, as you can see. Just do that. And then we'll just start to see what we end up with here. And we're pretty close, right? We're getting pretty close. How fast and easy was that? I might actually, I don't know why that happened. I have no idea. Let me start over again. And in all probability, that's actually probably the way his hair actually looked. But we'll try to straighten it up just a little bit here so he doesn't look like a chucklehead. Oops. And I could use the hair tool before I trim that out, okay? Yeah, Gene's got a great little tool that's called what's that called? Remove BG, and it does basically the same kind of thing here, but this works pretty well too. So we're getting pretty close. All right. Like I said, he probably is suffering from funky hair that day anyhow, because that's kind of normal for him. Okay. All right. Just simple here. I'm just going to say I'm done. Where's that? Oh, I know what that is. Right there. We'll remove that. Did I just do that? I did. I just removed the piece that I just removed the background from. So we'll see if we can undo that. And there it is. All right. Let me get that out of the way so I can delete this one right here. Now I can do something completely different here. But remember, I want to make sure I maintain the perspective, okay? I could have zoomed in on the hair. I could have used the hair tool and got it a little bit better. But I know this kid, and that's probably what his hair looks like. You know, his favorite thing to do is take Papa's beard balm and rub it all over his head, which makes his hair really interesting, to say the least. So I'm going to take this integration tool. I'm going to look at Pixabay, and I'm doing this for a reason, okay? Because I said I would talk about this in just a minute. So I'm going to take this image right here and make it my background. And I can click on this eye right here, and it will tell me this is free to download. It is free for commercial use. Okay, no attribution is required. So now I know I can use this without any issue. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to make it the background. Now, do you see the reason why the hair wasn't as big a deal? Background removal tool secret number 1 is put it so it blends in. Yeah. Does that picture look better than the one of him standing in front of the school? Now, keep this in mind. If I had used, let's take this image right here. We'll make this image the background instead. So I come over here, and I click on the replace tool, and I come over here and click on this. It's going to replace that background. This one doesn't look so good. And do you see why? Somebody tell me the reason why this one doesn't look the same as the one we had before. And then we'll be done for the day. The perspective is wrong. The proportionality is wrong. And the shadow on the lamp is not mimicked by the shadow on Tyson. Which causes me to believe that we were better off when we had, let me get rid of that image right there. That we were better off when we used this one right here. And we made that the background. Looks a lot better, right? That one doesn't look fake. That one looks like it belongs. All right. With that, we have reached the top of the hour. So thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate it. We'll be back here next Friday to do the same thing, same time, and all of that good kind of stuff. Okay. I will see you next Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.